Here is a trend that is becoming impossible to ignore in tech. Organizations are quietly updating how they evaluate engineering talent, adding AI collaboration skills, and emphasizing capabilities that traditional computer science programs never accounted for. Why? Because the engineering capability model is shifting, and many organizations are still relying on frameworks that don't account for how AI actually changes what matters. Most teams don't notice this shift until the gap becomes obvious and hard to ignore. We are entering what I call the great developer capability shift. This isn't about junior versus senior debate. It is about new capabilities that amplify output far more than another year of experience ever could. The companies that see this early will adapt faster. Others may fall behind as AI integrated teams gain momentum. I am Subrata Kar, and this is Coach POV. Let's explore the trends shaping this transformation. The speed at which teams adapt to AI will influence whether they lead innovation or chase it. Let's start with the new capability stack. McKinsey 2025 survey and GitHub's internal data shows a consistent shift. Years of experience alone are no longer the strongest predictor of output in AI augmented environments. The real differentiator is how effectively someone works with AI, not just how well they can code alone. Across high performing teams, three capabilities stand out: AI orchestration and system design. Before, engineering meant telling the computer what to do. But now, much of the job is telling AI how to think. And this capability is about explaining your intent clearly, giving AI the right context, and guiding it step by step. Teams that do this well see 16 to 30% faster prototyping. Second is the validation and quality governance. AI can generate work quickly, but it can also introduce subtle mistakes, especially around security. This capability is simply checking the AI's work carefully to make sure it is correct, safe, and reliable. Teams with strong validation habits see better quality because they catch the issues early. And third, rapid domain switching. Problems, tools, tech stack changes faster than ever. Teams need people who can adjust just as quickly they can. Rapid domain switching is the ability to get productive fast in a new tool, language, or code base, with AI helping you learn as you go. GitHub reports that 80% of new developers use Copilot in their first week, cutting the onboarding time dramatically. Here is the key insight: none of these skills are tied to job tenure. They are tied to how quickly someone can adapt, learn, and collaborate with AI. For the first time, adaptability outshines experience as a predictor of value. I recently listened to Dorcas Patel's conversation with Ilya Sutskever, one of OpenAI's co-founders, and he explained something very crucial. He said, current AI is like competitive programmer who practice 10,000 hours on specific test problems. They crush the benchmarks, but give them a slightly different problems, they get stuck in loops, repeating the same mistakes. Why? Because AI memorizes patterns, not principles. It performs well on benchmarks, but struggles with real world problems that don't fit the patterns. So, what does it mean for you? AI needs human guidance. The real value comes from people who can guide effectively, validate what produces, and adapt as tool evolves. And that is why adaptability is the new competitive advantage. The full interview link is in the description below if you want the deeper explanation. Now, let's look at the actual productivity data. GitHub's 2025 Octoverse shows a significant shift in developer behavior. 1.12 billion contributions, which is up 13%. 43 million pull requests merge monthly, that is up 23%. And 4.25 million issues closed monthly, up 25%. McKinsey's high performers report that 16 to 30% faster delivery and save around 6 hours per week on routine work. And here is what's happening right now. AI adoption is surging. Developers are using AI tools at unprecedented rates. But here is the tension. 45% of the AI generated code contains security vulnerabilities. And trust is surprisingly low. Only about a third of developers fully trust AI out. So we have high usage and low confidence. And that's the paradox. And here is the uncomfortable truth. We are still figuring out how to validate AI code effectively. The old approach, careful, thorough code review, works, but it is slow. Research shows experienced developers using this approach are actually 19% slower when working with AI tools. The validation overhead eats the productivity gains. The first approach, ship quickly, debug later, creates security debt. Those vulnerabilities accumulate. Quality suffers. So, what's the answer? The developers and the teams who are winning right now, they are experimenting with new validation approaches. Some are using AI to validate AI, building adversarial testing, where one model checks another. Others are building test first workflows, writing tests before generating code. So validation is built in. Others focus validation on high risk areas only. Not everything needs the same amount of scrutiny. But here is what's important to understand. There is no playbook yet. This is the frontier. The validation challenge isn't just about individual discipline, it's a structural problem. The entire ecosystem is still building the tools, practices, and workflows to validate AI generated code at scale. Organizations and individuals who figured this out in next 12 to 18 months, they will have a massive advantage because right now the market is paying for its capability. Levels.fyi data shows the AI skilled developers earning 6 to 19% premium. The market is saying we will pay for people who can move fast and maintain quality. That combination, speed plus validation discipline, that's what separates sustainable productivity from accumulated debts. Top teams are shifting from writing more code to exploring more solutions and finding better ones sooner. But they are doing it with new validation practices. Let's talk about interviews because this is where the old system fails first. Algorithmic tests, the coding challenges companies use to screen developers have become commoditized. Tools can solve 80 to 90% of those problems instantly. Hiring teams are now looking for something else. How well someone guides AI, how they validate outputs, how they adapt under ambiguity. And interviews are evolving from can you solve this alone to can you solve this with tools you will actually use at work. Now let's talk about compensation. Levels.fyis Q3 2025 data shows clear compensation premiums for AI oriented roles. Entry level up by 6.2%, engineers up by 11.9%, seniors up by 14.2%, and staff up by 18.7%. And this isn't reversing experience based pay, it is amplifying it. Companies aren't paying for more code, they're paying for more leverage. Now let's bring this home. Here is how I see this playing out. Organizations are facing three paths. Number one, keep doing what you have always done, and the risk falling behind as AI integrated teams gain momentum. Number two, jump on AI without any structure, and you get speed, but also technical debt. Code becomes unreliable. You are moving fast in the wrong direction. And number three, build this intentionally. And early adopters are seeing 16 to 45% performance improvements, not by more number of people, but by having their current teams work smarter. What does a third path look like in practice? From what I am observing, organizations are auditing who can already orchestrate with AI. They are identifying validators, people who can catch problems. They are figuring out who learns new tools fast. Hiring is starting to shift from purely valuing years of experience to also valuing adaptability. Interviews are evolving from can you solve this problem alone to can you solve this with AI and validate the results. And finally, metrics are changing. Teams are tracking how fast are we shipping? What's the quality? What's our AI ROI? So here is where I see teams focusing, practicing prompt chaining for orchestration, implementing automated security checks for validation, and using AI to accelerate domain learning. Here's the thing. This does not require restructuring your entire organization. It is about recognizing what actually creates value now, not tenure, but what people can do with AI. So here is where this all leads to. Your job isn't going away, but if you're not learning to work with AI, then someone else will do your work in half the time. And here is what matters now. Can you structure prompts that actually guides AI thinking? Can you validate outputs at scale without losing speed? Can you jump into new domain and get productive fast? If not yet, now is the time to build those skills. Not in a year, not when you think you will need them, but now. The old model is fading, and the new model reverses three things: how fast you move, how well you validate, and how much leverage you get from your tools. Look, if this feels overwhelming, and I get it, a lot of developers are asking, am I obsolete? Should I have learned this a year ago? Or is it too late? Here is the truth. It is not too late. These skills are learnable. So if you are a senior engineer, you are actually perfectly positioned. That year-long investment in deep knowledge is your superpower. You already know when code feels wrong. You can spot architectural issues. You understand the edge cases. Now you just apply that intuition to validate AI output. That combination, deep experience plus new capabilities, is the most valuable thing in the market right now. Want to start? Next time you see AI code, don't just copy paste. Read every line, understand what it's doing, look for edge cases. That's the validation. That's the new skill. So start right there. Now, I want to be clear. I've shifted the data, the challenge, but the deep tactical. How of building these practices at scale? That's the frontier we are exploring together. Noelle Russell joins me on my Spark and the Forge podcast. She's 5 times Microsoft MVP in Trustworthy AI, former leader at AWS, Microsoft, and IBM. We will talk about exactly how organizations are building responsible AI validation practices. So if you are thinking, okay, now what do I do? That conversation is coming soon. Make sure you are subscribed. This is Forge POV. If you got something out of this, follow the show. Share it with somebody who needs to hear it. Leave a rating if you can, it helps. For a deeper dive in everything we covered, I have got a full breakdown on my Substack. That's where you will find the detailed frameworks and the principles for orchestration and validation that we could not cover in this episode. Link in the description. Thank you so much for listening. Bye for now.